And welcome to an all-new DC Cast Explosion Network's hub for discussing all things DC Comics related. I'm host Hobley. Joining me today is Blight.
Brightest day and blackest night. No evil shall escape my podcast site. Let those who give one-star reviews demise. For I don't know where I'm going. Green Lantern's life.
Right yeah. Yes, today we're talking about The Lanterns, the new series on HBO. It's got that coveted Sunday night, Monday morning Australia time slot. So a lot of prestige into it. I guess question without notice, what is your history with Green Lantern?
Brightest day and it was Brightest Day, wasn't it? The
Brightest Day was the follow-up to...
Yes, the follow-up.
Blackest Night was the...
Initial, yeah, I can't remember the order. So Brightest Day, the follow-up, was my first event hardcover comic book overbrought. Which a lot of it out of context, but then it sent me on to go find other stuff to get some context and stuff. But that was the first ever collected graphic novel I brought.
Yeah, so I got into comics around the time of Blackest Night. I think there's definitely two. I think I got in around the time that they killed off Bruce Wayne, the end of Grant Morrison's run. So I think not long after that, they had Batman was resurrected and was one of the Blackest Nights or whatever. So after that, you know, all the talk is Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run is a must read. So, you know, read Green Lantern Blue Rebirth, go into Green Lantern Corps, the Lantern Wars, whatever, into Blackest Night, into Brightest Day, all that stuff. So, read all of that. Other than that, and then the Ryan Reynolds movie, which the less said about that, the better. There's a reason that we forgot to do a rewatch of that. Because we just forgot it was a thing. Yeah. I watched a bit of the Green Lantern animated show that they did. The CG.
One of the CG, one of the first, the whatever you call the DC animated movies they did.
There's one of the ones, I think it's voice playing.
I think it was, what's his...
No.
Yeah, I think so.
It's either him or Chris Maloney, one of the other.
Yeah. I got the most I've read contextually, solely just Green Lantern comics, was when New 52 started, was the most hardcore I went, and I was just buying everything. So okay. I think I read, like I was reading Green Lantern every month for a couple years there at some point, and some of the spin-off stuff, but I didn't like they had like a Red Lantern spin-off and all this other whatever. I didn't really like those as much.
So, obviously we know a bit of the lore and that kind of stuff and the makeup of the Green Lantern. So, going into this, I think that probably helped, and also informs also we can judge kind of how they've introduced the lore into the show. So, let's get into it. Please beware, we'll be freely discussing anything and everything about plot themes in any of the episodes. So, if you haven't watched it, come back later. With that said, let's talk about Lanterns, Season 1, Episode 1, Pilot. Directed by James Hawes, written by Chris Mundy, Damon Lindelof, Tom King. After a fatal shooting, Green Lantern Hal Jordan and new recruit John Stewart set out to prove he was an extraterrestrial event. Dylan, what do you think of the premiere episode of Lanterns?
I thought it was okay. It's oddly paced with seemingly trying to be... It's trying to be, and they've used the words themselves, the different creators, Gunn, whoever, all these things. Like everyone's throwing around, it's a cross between True Detective and fucking Green Lanterns and some other thing or whatever. Like they're trying to do this detective noir thing, but it's Green Lanterns and whatever else. I think it gets a bit muddied, at least in the pilot. Like the problem. I think the problem I found is I was enjoying the chemistry, but nothing about the overall mystery / plot grabbed my attention by the end of the episode. And I think a lot, you're supposed to be grabbed by alien invasion potential, I guess. That's supposed to intrigue you. They're running parallels to, like obviously they're using like racial undertone parallels to that, which could get more interesting as the show goes on. But then the other big mystery, obviously, is at the end where it's like Hal Jordan's dead, and that's supposed to, I guess, grab you. But for some reason, I just didn't care. Not because I wasn't enjoying seeing Hal on screen. I have no problem. I was loving Kyle Chandler's performance and everything, but I'm still not like that invested in this version of the character to really care. Like the mystery didn't do a lot for me. Like, why is he there frozen and dead? Like, and especially because it's a pilot, the ending, the big mystery set up for the rest of the season, so it's to like, really hook you in and stuff. And comparatively, I rewatched the first 2 episodes of Watchmen the other day. That show, which is a banger, and I've watched through already completely twice, so now this is the 3rd time I've started. But the first episode of that show, huge. It sets up, like, if you replace, I can't remember the actor's name off the top of my head, but if you replace Kyle Chandler's character with the sheriff or whatever the guy's name was, the deputy police chief, spoilers for Watchmen, by the way. If you replace him with that character, you spend that entire episode getting to know him, and by the end of the episode, you really like him. You're like, you get to see this, you're like, oh, this is a good guy, like blah, 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 blah. And then he's hanged at the end of the episode, and you're left with this, like, that hooks you, I think. Like, you're like, what? Why? How? There's a guy in a wheelchair? You know what I mean? Like, I think that did a much better, and I'm only comparing it because they end sort of similar. It's like they introduce you to a character as one of the main characters and then kill him. And now obviously this is time jump, bit different, whatever else. But I just think I don't think it was done as well. I'm still keen for the rest of the show, and I think Aaron Pierre does a really good job as playing this super military fucking Jon Stewart. And the thing is, I don't really like Jon Stewart, but he's like in the comic books because he is this guy, which makes him the worst Green Lantern, in my opinion. The least fun of the Green Lanterns. But Aaron Pierre's bringing a subtle charm to that stoic nature, which I'm enjoying. I think Kelly Macdonald is wasted. Like, she's in other things and she's a lot better in them than this role. She's sort of just whatever. But we don't really get anyone else, I guess. But Kyle Chandler, I'm loving. Just the absolute brazen Hal Jordan is curmudgeon, older Hal Jordan. I'm enjoying. Like, still, I've seen people online complaining he's not Hal. I'm like, I don't know, it sounds like Hal Jordan to me. Like, Hal Jordan's always been up himself and a show off, and you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, and this is an older version, like, it fits, it works for me. So I thought it was an okay pilot.
I'm pretty sure I enjoyed it more than you did. I thought it was pretty great. I think maybe I was just really impressed in how they weaved the Green Lantern lore in so seamlessly. Just simply, like, it wasn't info dumps all the time about explaining why the constructs are there and what's the Green Lantern Corps. And, I think they use certain devices to get you to understand the premise very quickly and that kind of stuff. So I think the chemistry is like the core thing at the center of this show so far. Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre like have this fun. I understand they're friendly on set, but they've got this competitive thing going between them, because obviously it's set up that John is coming in to replace Hal, and Hal clearly doesn't think he should be replaced yet. And I think it's also interesting, like, playing with that, with the lore of the Green Lanterns, where it's always when a Green Lantern dies is when they get replaced. But now they're actually training somebody before his to take over or whatever. So why are they doing that? That's an added mystery, I guess, for people who know more about Green Lanterns and that kind of stuff. So I don't know that I necessarily was super invested in Hal dying. It was a surprise because, it's a massive legacy character, a character that's been around 50, 60 years. And so much so that they kind of brought him back from obscurity and that kind of thing. So to have him die at the end of the episode, I think is a bold move. is it him? That was my instant reaction. Is it actually Hal in the episode? We'll get into that. I didn't mind. I think it's interesting that obviously when we see him in 2016, he has been at the Green Lantern at least 20 years. Because
That's in what, 96, 97?
96 is when we see him at the start of it, which we'll get into in a sec. But I think anyone who's been in a job for 20 years becomes kind of jaded about it. I think that probably...
I think anyone who's been in a job for 2 years becomes jaded with it.
So I think, that plays into it. But yeah, I think really interesting setting. But I can understand it's like definitely hitting hard with the True Detective vibes, because that also had like the multi timeline structure as well. So not necessarily with the mythical or like cultish elements. I guess that was in that first season. So but yeah, let's read through the plot according to number one movie resource, Wikipedia. In 1996, Air Force veteran and test pilot Hal Jordan is Earth's first member of the Green Lantern Corps. A young John Stewart idolizes Hal, who conducts a 60-minute interview after revealing his existence to the public while intercepting a meteor over Victoria Falls 10 years earlier. So what? He first became Green Lantern in 1986, I guess, by that logic.
Yeah.
John lives in Coast City with his Marine father, John Sr., enduring physical and emotional abuse, meant to prove that he has no fear. And what are your first impressions? Like, really easy opening.
I think he looks weird in the suit. It was my... to be honest.
That might just be the lighting of 90s television,
I mean, obviously that opening scene, the biggest takeaway is the shooting the apple off the head out of everything that happens. So
that is wild. I didn't notice it at the time, but I've heard other people point out like there are multiple bullet holes in that house, in that shed or whatever.
It's done.
Which I guess makes sense for him to just go and accept that this is what's going to happen. But
I mean, it's sort of so his father's grooming him to take the job, basically.
Yes, that is the interesting element of this. That why is he doing that? And whether I think that could be easily overlooked as like, I think that is going to be a key thing going forward. Like, why was his father
that was my takeaway. That his father was literally grooming him to be the next Green Lantern, and he spent his life trying
to be the next Green Lantern.
Trying to be the next Green Lantern, and part of that is the no fear thing. So
yes, so I've also saw someone point out like he's the only one of those kids in that room that's willing to keep the TV on, even though they know that they're not supposed to be watching it. There's no fear. No fear of the repercussions.
No fear.
I think the other key thing is that his dad, after his shoot, like you've seen these situations where it seems like a kid's getting punished, taken outside, you think he's going to get beaten or whatever. You get this, but when he doesn't flinch, his dad is like very celebratory and says, "Let's go get somebody."
So good job, son.
Good job, and that kind of stuff. So kind of positive reinforcement on there. So, yeah, that was good. I think also, no, not in this scene. But yeah, just a really good setup. Then we jump forward to 2016. An adult John is being trained as a reserve lantern and expresses annoyance at not wearing the ring. Hal jumps out of a car he is driving and forcing John to wear Hal's ring to save himself. On his way to meet him, the ring releases a backup consciousness of Hal, recorded in case of death, which has not been updated in 10 years. The consciousness sends Hal a message. There's hail in Rushville, Nebraska. This prompts Hal to fly to Rushville, forcing John to make his own way there without help. We set up like the relationship, I guess, the animosity, I guess, between the two pretty easily, and he's
doing what his bosses say, which is to train the new guy, but he's not doing it merrily. Yeah.
Reluctantly, I think.
Reluctantly, yeah.
As shown by him apparently disappearing for several days before being picked up. Apparently. I mean, we've seen that clip of him saying
going off the car before,
jumping out of the car, and then we don't actually see him use the construct. Is the funny thing, because we just see the car crash and that kind of stuff. So, But we also established that Hal definitely is a celebrity, and he's well known. Everybody kind of fanboys around him at the taco station when he's trying to get food. They also explain why he's not wearing the suit, which I think is pretty good. Also, thinking about today, I mean, obviously in the comics, like the suit is a construct from the ring, but we also established that there's only so much power in the ring. So, isn't it smart to not use the ring to have a suit, because then you just like idly using power?
I know. I guess it depends how much. It's like how much power does an LED battery use? How much power does a fabric suit? I don't know. Like, does it use that much?
How much is it using it?
But, in the scheme of things,
if you weren't using it all the time, that's that could be the 1 or 2% you need later. So, but I mean, his explanation is when you first start, you wear the suit and tie, but
yeah, you put in the effort.
He's definitely giving grizzled veteran cop,
very
energy,
much,
and that's definitely the vibe and the thing that is expressed. The difference between Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan is he's got all these years of experience. He can notice these things and that kind of stuff. So that's interesting. The construct thing, I don't think I've ever seen in the comics before, but what are your thoughts on that? Why hasn't he not backed up in 10 years?
I guess he stopped cat. That's maybe 2016 is the last time. Maybe something happened in that year. 26?
2006 it would be. 10 years.
2006, sorry, yeah. Maybe something happened then that... Because he comes across very different in that scene. The performance and everything, obviously.
That Hal Jordan is closer to, I guess, the one Ryan Reynolds tried to play.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe something happens around that time that's now turned him into this begrudged Green Lantern that we see in the show, and that's why he hasn't been following the procedures or whatever. If he was supposed to back it up, what do you say, every week, every month, something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Pretty regularly.
Pretty regularly. So I'd assume something along those lines. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Also, him just flying away. What a dick.
Yeah, that's funny.
And then, John makes his way.
I just love also, and that's when he makes his way, just flies off and then just shows John airport plane, but not like looking angry about it, just very much like
accepting that this is clearly in the 2 months they've been together. This is not the first time. This is not the first time that he's just flown away. And
no, because he says later, he's like, "Oh, you're finally here," or whatever. When he gets there, and he's like, "I was testing you to see if you could make your way here," or something.
In Rushville, Hal and John discover the aftermath of a mass shooting at a high school football game. But local sheriff Kerry Kane asks them not to intervene. John spots the suspect at the scene, and the man is arrested, but Kerry refuses to let Hal interrogate him. At a bar later, Hal recounts the day when he became a Green Lantern, taking the ring from a dying Abensur and accepting responsibility for Sector 2814. Hal picks a fight with a bar patron, hoping to get arrested so he can get close to the suspect. Instead, Kerry locks him in the station's broom closet. John flirts with an older woman at the bar, and they end up having sex in his car. I didn't... Kerry... What's her name again? Sheriff Kane. I think, she's fine. We're probably going to learn more about her over the course of the season. I think it's probably telling towards the end of the episode that she is still closer with John and that kind of stuff. But just the animosity between them. I think, again, this was a good sequence in showing that all Hal's experience and instincts are quite right,
He's an asshole, but he's good at his job.
He's good at his job and checking it out and that kind of stuff. Also, it's very weird to see Colt Chandler in another football field and
not Friday Night Lights.
Not Friday Night Lights. So that was all cool. We get to see an extended sequence of Aaron Pierre running, which is very good.
Yeah.
I mean, he does
Tom Cruise money.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't that far of a leap from his performance in Rebel Ridge, which was great. Yeah. And maybe a few more talk. He is a little bit more talkative in this one, I think. originally a little bit more stoic. That whole bar sequence, I love that, he just explains the Abensur, the alien dropping from the sky, explain, that being a thing.
And this thing is a real alien fucker with green ooze or whatever he says coming out or whatever,
glowing blood.
Glowing blood, yeah.
Yeah. Big skin and glowing blood. Yeah, that was really cool. And, he's just very nonchalant, just able to just address it and kind of move on. His dumb plant. I just love how he isn't scared to do what he's about to do, but, he realizes how, he's a bit reluctant.
Mm-hmm.
He second guesses himself a couple of times.
Yeah, he goes back for that.
Goes back for that extra shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, it's just a great way to piss everybody off at the bar, just playing the same song several times in a row.
Yeah, as soon as it went for the second time, I was like, oh, I see what's happening here.
Yeah. Yeah. We get a lot. And then, he does, John lets off some steam with an older woman in the bar. Understandable.
Good for him.
Good for him.
Gets the granny.
Mm-hmm. At his hearing, Hal is defended by lawyer Billy Macon, Kelly's husband. Hal is released on bail by Miller's father, William, but is instructed not to leave town. William asks to meet Hal and John at a local ranch. William is taking care of the ranch for an undisclosed client and believes Hal should interrogate the jail suspect under using his connection to Carey. John finds a woman at the ranch and learns she is Zoe Macon, William's wife. Interesting. First, what is the actor's name? Garret Dillahunt, who I remember as he was the Terminator in the Sarah Connor series, Chronicles.
Was he?
Yeah,
I watched that. I don't remember that. There you go.
It was in the show Raising Hope. He doesn't look old enough to be.
Well, he doesn't look old enough, and obviously he doesn't look old enough to be.
I know, that's the other thing.
They both look too young.
The kid's like, Grandma.
Yeah. I was like, what? Sure.
Damn.
But even when they walked into the kitchen, it's like, oh, he's waiting for you in there or whatever. And they walk in, my brain's like, oh, this must be another son or something.
Yeah, this must be his brother, older brother or something.
Must be like older brother or something. And then he starts talking.
No,
he's the guy.
It was pointed out to me. He's 61.
What?
Yeah.
That is wild. Botox is wild.
Yeah. But
green juice goes far.
It's definitely established that they are working for somebody who have an interest in. Well, they're clearly xenophobic in some sort of way, so worried about these aliens coming and taking our jobs.
They're literally doing the most on the nose, but I'm open for it. Obviously, the white supremacists out there in Texas preparing for the Civil War uprising, Nebraska or wherever the fuck you want to. But they're preparing for the incoming Civil War, the incoming race war or whatever. Sort of the real world influences are as such.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then the tease that he knows he fucked his wife.
So she must have told him. It's the thing.
You'd have to assume so. That's the only way he would know.
How would he know? Unless he's tracking.
Unless he's got spies everywhere. I mean, he does have a lot of people in his militia. Somebody could have seen them at the bar and then reported back. They would have had to know that Hal Jordan got into a fight at the bar, so that could be a thing. So,
but also, I'm like, why was she? I mean, like,
what you fucking?
I know. It seems like she was sent there to fuck him. Is what?
That could be. Yeah.
I sort of took that away from it.
Also, I loved Hal saying that's the first time I've been impressed. I've only been here like a day.
Impressed. Yeah, he's like, impressive. Yeah.
The following day, Hal interrogates the suspect, Waylon Sanders, who he believes may be an alien. Waylon confirms Hal's suspicions, taunting and angering him by reciting his oath, then activates an explosive device in his body. Hal quickly throws him to the ground and puts up a force field with his ring containing the explosion, saving Rushville. Really fantastic sequence here. Just the interrogation and kind of how he works. There's no, as it's kind of established, there's no like biological way you can prove there's an alien, but the way he is just talks.
He like asks him, like it's like he knows that the aliens would go super hardcore on whatever topic or character they're meant to playing. So of course he knows in detail, can answer all these questions about the type of person he's supposed to be. But the second he goes to like general knowledge,
yeah, it's like
no idea. What school did Harry Potter go to? Right at the end, he's like, Hogwarts,
there's
motherfucker.
Like 16, there's like 16 movies. It's like 22 movies.
Yeah.
No, I think the best bit is who's Barack Hussein Obama.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me a man from
wherever it is, like doesn't have
middle
a single
Nebraska has
opinion
no opinions on
Barack Hussein Obama?
So good. But yeah, also in the I don't know, the glass room, Kelly and John talking about Hal, and you know, the realization that yes, he was right. I think he's a fucking alien. I think when he goes hypothetically, I think nobody goes into that hypothetical unless they're actually the thing that you're accusing them of being. But yeah, obviously we established that John, I believe, has respect for Hal and that kind of stuff, for his fear and that kind of stuff, and I guess it's also established like John has been trained to have no fear, whereas Hal maybe is a little bit has nothing to lose, I guess, is the interpretation. Like that the first thing we hear from Hal at the start of the episode is like, once you see a parent die, then there's nothing else to fear. So whether he's always been living his life that way, I think is interesting. But yes, apparently we've got an invading alien force that is in Rushville, with, I don't know, all got bombs in them. They apparently beep before they detonate, which is helpful. And they're seeking some sort of revenge. It's not exactly clear. It could also be tied into why Hal is looking into this town to begin with. He establishes early on that he set like a tracking thing in case anything weird starts happening in this town, because it's not far away from where Abbott's crash landed on the planet. The Green Lanterns never really ever came to Earth before this, so there must be a reason that he crash landed there in the first place. So, also love that he says, kind of mumbled his last words. I never could think if it was good luck or fuck you. That's a good line. Yeah. Anything else about this story, this timeline so far that's interesting to you?
No, I mean, I'm just intrigued to find out who. I guess my main thing currently is the big bad going to be a DC thing, or is it just going to be a new cut? You know what I mean? Like just show creation. And I don't know what the right answer, which way I would like it at this stage. I'm just intrigued to see what direction they sort of decide to go in.
All right. You think that would be the end of the episode, but no. Then we jump forward to 2026, present day. John returns to Rushville, reuniting with Carey. They arrive at the football field and discover Hal's frozen corpse in the bleachers, not wearing his ring. Dun, dun, dun. Clearly establishing how we're going to know about the storyline. John's got a goatee. He's got a big truck. Big truck. Also, was that the town or the ranch that we see kind of desolated at the start of like kind of the flashback when he's driving through?
It looks like the town. It looks like to me they purposely hung on the prison or the sheriff, whatever, the police station. The building that we just saw get the hole blown out of it seemed to be the same shape, structure, the one they hang on. So
it's interesting because then, well, one, the stadium's still there. Two, Kelly is still there. So I guess it's interesting they wouldn't rebuild, I guess. You know, I guess in this comedy maybe it's hard to get contractors out to rebuild a whole town. Well, yeah. I guess the mystery is who killed Hal Jordan? Where is the ring? The other element of this that is interesting is obviously that it's already been established in the DC universe. Guy Gardner is the Gardner. So how does he play into all this? Is he wearing the ring that
Well,
Hal Jordan had?
I mean, that's the thing. So we now know that he's been trained up to be Hal's replacement, and 10 years later, until that moment, Hal's not passed on the ring.
That's the implication. I mean, we don't see a ring on John's finger at any time, so.
How do we end up with Guy Gardner? Don't know. But then, because my other thing was thinking, Guy Gardner presumably doesn't come around in the flashbacky stuff. He's not around in 2016. So we must see him bump into him in the flash forward stuff. So we'll quickly find out if it's a different ring or somehow he got the Hal ring. I don't know, but yeah.
So a few mysteries to get solved, I think. There's a lot of interesting threads going forward, I think, with why is John being groomed for this? What's the mystery behind that Hal's looking into, and who's behind these attacks in the city? Why is Hal dead in the future? I think there's a lot of meat in there to get into over the course of the season. I think we got 8 episodes. Yeah, 8 episodes running us through to October. So very keen to be talking about it every week. Any other final thoughts?
No, haven't covered it all.
No. Did you like the constructs this episode? Obviously, we only get to see a handful.
Fine.
They didn't look.
I didn't think they looked great. Hopefully, they're saving the good-looking stuff for when they do an actual big fight scene or something like that.
I mean, the actual the bubble that he uses at the end was pretty good, but obviously that's just there for purpose. But
yeah.
All right, let us know what you thought of the first episode of Lanterns by going to explosionnetwork.com/follow and let us know on social media. If you want to help us out here at All New DC Cast, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser, leave us 5 stars, and you can leave 5 stars, or just tell people about the show. And if you want to help us out at Explosion Network with all other podcasts and written content, head over to explosionnetwork.com/support. Thank you very much for listening, and join us next time for another All New DC Cast.